My sister hired actors to destroy my marriage. I was reorganizing my desk for the third time when Isaiah walked through the door, face pale and jaw set so tight I thought he'd crack a tooth. They said they never spoke to anyone. I looked up from the stack of client contracts I'd been staring at for an hour. What? My mom. She said she's never even heard of your boss, let alone met her at some event. She called it slander. I felt the air go thin. Isaiah, I lost the entire Harmon account because your mother told Rachel I missed deadlines and ghost emails. Rachel told me herself. She said Patricia was very concerned about my reliability. He dropped his keys on the counter. And my parents are saying it never happened. They're saying you're confused, that maybe someone else said something and you're blaming them because you're stressed. Stressed. Their word, not mine. I stood, gripping the edge of my desk. Your mother has been in this apartment 4 times in the last 2 weeks, unannounced. She told me my lentil soup tasted like something a college student would make. And your dad spent 20 minutes explaining why freelance work isn't a real career. You were sitting right there. Isaiah rubbed his face. I know, I remember. But when I brought it up tonight, they acted like I'd accused them of murder. My mom actually cried. She said she's been nothing but welcoming and doesn't understand why you'd turn me against her. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Turn you against her. She's been tearing me apart since we got back from the honeymoon, and now she's gaslighting both of us. I don't think she cost me $8,000, Isaiah. That account was my income for the next 4 months. He went quiet. I watched his shoulders sag, and for a moment I thought he'd finally see it, the pattern I'd been pointing out for weeks. But then he shook his head. Maybe Rachel misunderstood. Maybe it was someone else at the event. Rachel described her perfectly. Brown blazer, pearl earrings, the pin with the little bird. Your mom wore that exact outfit to brunch last Sunday. Isaiah looked at me like I was building a conspiracy theory out of coincidence. A lot of people wear pearls. I wanted to scream. Instead, I walked to the kitchen and poured a glass of water I didn't drink. My hands were shaking. They loved you when we were dating, he said quietly. I don't understand what changed. Neither do I. That was the part that made it worse. For 2 years, Elizabeth and Gregory had been warm, enthusiastic, full of questions about my work and stories about Isaiah's childhood. They'd sent me a care package when I had the flu. Gregory had called me the daughter he never had. And then we got married, and it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly I was inadequate, unpolished, not good enough for their son. Isaiah sat on the couch, elbows on his knees. I'll talk to them again. Maybe if I'm calmer, they're lying to you. Or you misread the situation. I stared at him. You think I made this up? I think you're upset, and I think my parents are confused, and I don't know how to fix it. He looked up at me exhausted. I just want everyone to get along. I set the glass down, water untouched. Your mother destroyed my reputation with a client I've worked with for 3 years, and you're asking me to get along. He didn't answer. I grabbed my laptop and my phone and walked into the bedroom, shutting the door harder than I meant to. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, trying to figure out how I'd gone from having supportive in-laws to losing my biggest client in the span of 6 months. And why no one, not even my husband, seemed to believe me. I didn't sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling while Isaiah's breathing evened out beside me, and all I could think about was the way Patricia had smiled at me across the table last Sunday. Syrup sweet, right before telling me my blouse looked vintage in a tone that made it sound like an insult. By morning, I'd convinced myself I was the problem. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I'd misheard Rachel, or Rachel had misheard Patricia, or the whole thing was a terrible game of telephone that I'd turned into a tragedy because I was anxious about money and success and being enough. Isaiah left early for a site meeting. I made coffee I didn't finish, and opened my laptop to send apology emails to clients I hadn't even upset yet, just in case. Preemptive damage control. That's what my life had become. Patricia called at 10. I stared at her name on my screen for 3 rings before I answered. Sweetheart, I just wanted to check in. Her voice was warm, concerned, everything it had been before the wedding. Isaiah told me you've been stressed about work, and I thought maybe we could grab lunch this week. Just us girls. I know things have felt tense, and I'd hate for there to be any misunderstanding between us. I gripped the phone. You told my boss I'm unreliable. Silence. I never said that. Rachel described you. She told me exactly what you said. Then Rachel is mistaken. Or someone is playing a very cruel joke. Patricia's tone shifted, cooler now. I've never even met the woman. And frankly, I'm hurt that you'd accuse me of something so vicious without proof. I wanted to argue, but every word I'd prepared dissolved. She sounded so genuine, so wounded. I'm sorry, I heard myself say. I understand you're under pressure, sweetheart. Freelancing is hard, but you can't lash out at people who care about you just because you're struggling. I ended the call feeling worse than before. Isaiah came home that night with flowers, an apology for doubting me, and a promise to set boundaries with his parents. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe any of it. But when I looked at the tulips in the vase, all I felt was tired. His parents came over again 3 days later, unannounced. Isaiah had just stepped out to grab takeout, and I was alone when the knock came. Patricia walked in with a casserole dish, and Gregory followed with a bottle of wine, and they were so warm, so pleasant, asking about my day and commenting on the curtains I'd hung last month. It felt like whiplash. I stood in my own kitchen wondering if I'd imagined every barbed comment, every cold look. Then Isaiah came back and the shift happened. Patricia set the casserole on the counter. I made this for you both, but I have to say, darling, your kitchen could use a little more organization. It's hard to cook efficiently in chaos. Gregory laughed. She's been organizing kitchens for 30 years. You should take notes. Isaiah smiled, awkward, and I felt my chest tighten. Thanks for the casserole, I said. Patricia touched my arm. Of course. I just want to help however I can. I know how overwhelming it must be trying to keep up with everything. They stayed for an hour. I barely spoke. After they left, Isaiah asked if I felt better about things, and I lied and said yes. That night, I couldn't stop replaying the visit, the smile, the touch, the way she'd made me feel small without saying anything outright cruel. I opened Facebook to distract myself, scrolling through nothing, and that's when the message came through, from someone named Becca. The profile picture showed a woman in her 50s with short blonde hair and a bright smile. I didn't recognize her. The message sat in my request folder, flagged as coming from someone I wasn't connected to. Hi, this is going to sound insane, but I think I was hired to play your mother-in-law. I just saw your wedding photos tagged in a mutual friend's post, and I recognized your husband. I was told this was for a prank reality show pilot that never aired, but if you're actually married to him, I think someone lied to me. I'm so sorry. I need to know if this is real. I read it 3 times. My hands went cold. I clicked on her profile. Public posts showed acting headshots, theater credits, a few promotional photos from local productions. She looked nothing like Patricia, but the message had a thread of attachments. A contract with a production company I'd never heard of. A Venmo payment for $1,200 labeled EP1 Mother Role. Another payment. Another. Screenshots of a group chat with someone listed as coordinator giving her directions. What to wear, where to meet, how to act. And then I saw the name at the top of the Venmo payments. Felicity, my sister. I stood up so fast my chair tipped backward. Isaiah was brushing his teeth in the bathroom. I walked to the doorway, phone in hand, and I must have looked like I'd seen something dead because he spit into the sink and turned to me immediately. What's wrong? I held up the screen. Your mother isn't your mother? He stared at me. I think my sister hired an actress. Isaiah wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, toothpaste still on his lips. What are you talking about? I turned the phone toward him. The Venmo payment glowed on the screen. Felicity's name right there. Stark and undeniable. He took the phone from me, scrolled. His face went pale. This doesn't make sense. Keep reading. He did. I watched his expression shift from confusion to something harder. He opened the contract attachment, then the group chat screenshots. His thumb moved faster. Then he stopped. Who the hell is Becca? The woman who messaged me. She says she was hired to play your mother. He looked up at me. My mother lives in Oregon. I know. We talk to her every few weeks. On the phone, I said. Not video. You always say she hates FaceTime. His jaw tightened. Because she does. Or because someone told you she does. He stared at me like I'd just spoken a language he didn't understand. Then he handed the phone back and walked past me into the living room. I followed. He stood in the middle of the room with his hands on his hips, looking at nothing. This is insane, he said. Felicity wouldn't. She paid $1,200. Multiple times. There are scripts, Isaiah. Directions on what to say to me. Where to show up. He turned. Let me see it again. I pulled up the group chat screenshots. He leaned over my shoulder, reading. Coordinator. Next visit is Sunday, 4 p.m. Casual drop-in. Patricia should comment on the state of the kitchen and offer unsolicited advice. Keep it light but pointed. Gregory stays neutral, laughs it off. Becca. Got it. Same wardrobe as last time? Coordinator. Yes, consistency is key. Isaiah's breathing changed. Faster. Sharper. Who's the coordinator? I don't know. The number's not saved in her phone. He straightened. This can't be real. It's real. Then why would Felicity do this? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He already knew. He walked to the couch and sat down hard, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. I stayed standing. My legs felt unsteady, but I didn't want to sit. Sitting felt like giving into the weight of it. We need to call your parents, I said. He looked up. What? Your actual parents, right now. It's almost midnight there. I don't care. He opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. He pulled his phone from his pocket, stared at the screen, and I saw his hand shake. What if you're wrong? Then we'll know I'm wrong. It rang 4 times. Then a woman's voice, groggy and confused. Isaiah? Honey, it's late. Is everything okay? Isaiah's face crumpled. He covered his mouth with one hand. The voice wasn't Patricia's. It was softer, warmer, no edge to it. Mom? Yes, sweetheart, what's wrong? You're scaring me. He couldn't speak. I stepped closer, knelt beside him. Hi, I said. This is your daughter-in-law. We're so sorry to call this late, but we need to ask you something really important. There was a pause. Then cautiously, of course, what is it? Have you ever met me in person? Silence. I'm sorry, what? Have we ever met face to face, you and me? No, honey, we haven't. We've been trying to arrange a visit for months, but with work and the distance. Wait, is this about the wedding? I know we couldn't make it, and I've felt terrible ever since. We sent that gift in the card, but I know it's not the same. Isaiah made a sound. Not quite a sob, but close. Mom, he said, someone's been pretending to be you. Another pause, longer this time. What? I pulled up the photos on my phone. The ones from dinners, from the casserole visit, from the day they'd shown up at our apartment with the wine. I texted them to Isaiah, and he forwarded them to his mother. Check your messages, he said. We waited. I could hear rustling on the other end. A man's voice in the background asking what was going on. Then his mother's voice came back, sharper now. Isaiah, who are these people? That's what we're trying to figure out. That's not me, that's not your father. Isaiah exhaled, long and ragged. I know. What the hell is going on? I took the phone from him. We think my sister hired actors to impersonate you. We just found out tonight. We have contracts, payment records, everything. We needed to make sure you were real before we did anything else. His mother didn't respond right away. I could hear her breathing fast and uneven. Your sister did this? We think so. Why? I don't know yet. Put Isaiah back on. I handed him the phone. He pressed it to his ear, and I watched his face as he listened. His mother's voice was muffled now, too quiet for me to make out the words, but I saw his eyes redden. He stopped, listened. Okay, yeah, tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow. I love you too. He ended the call and sat there, staring at the dark screen. She's flying out, he said. Her and Dad. She's booking tickets tonight. She said she's not letting this go until she meets you in person, and we figure out what the hell happened. I sat down beside him. My hands were shaking now too. We need to talk to Felicity, I said. Not tonight. Isaiah? Not tonight. His voice cracked. I can't. I need to process this first. I need to understand how I didn't see it. How I believed. You had no reason not to. You talked to them on the phone. You had no reason to think the people showing up were anyone else. Stop. He looked at me. This isn't your fault, I said. This is calculated. This is months of planning and money and manipulation. You didn't miss something obvious. Someone went out of their way to make sure you wouldn't notice. He leaned back against the couch, eyes closed. I don't even know what to feel right now. Angry, I said. You should feel angry. I do. I also feel like an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're trusting. There's a difference. He opened his eyes. What do we do now? I looked down at my phone, at the messages from Becca, at the receipts and screenshots and evidence of something so deliberately cruel I still couldn't fully wrap my mind around it. We build the case, I said. We get everything organized. Every payment, every message, every photo, and then we confront her with all of it. No room for her to lie or twist it or make us doubt ourselves. Isaiah nodded slowly. And if she denies it, then we take it to my parents, and we let them see exactly what their daughter did. He reached for my hand. His palm was cold. We end this now, he said. Yeah, I said. We do. We didn't sleep. I sat at the dining table with my laptop open, copying every screenshot into a document. Isaiah printed payment records at the desk in the corner, the printer grinding and spitting pages into a growing stack. Neither of us spoke much. The silence felt necessary, like talking would break whatever focus was holding us together. By 6 in the morning, morning, we had a folder. Thick, organized, labeled, contracts with Becca's signature, group chat screenshots with timestamps, Venmo receipts showing Felicity's name next to dollar amounts that added up to something deliberate and sustained, photos of the actors standing in our kitchen, sitting on our couch, holding wine glasses at our table. Isaiah held the folder in both hands, staring at it like it might explode. We're really doing this, he said. Yes. Right now? Right now. He nodded once, grabbed his keys, and we left. The drive to my parents' house took 40 minutes. I spent most of it staring out the window, rehearsing what I'd say and then discarding it. There was no script for this, no way to soften it. We pulled into the driveway just after 7. My father's car was there. So was Felicity's. Isaiah cut the engine. She's here. Good. You sure about this? I looked at him. Are you? He exhaled slowly, then opened the door. We walked up to the front porch. I didn't knock. I used my key, the one I'd had since high school, and pushed the door open. The house smelled like coffee and bacon. I heard voices in the kitchen, low and easy, the kind of Sunday morning sounds that used to feel comforting. Now they just felt wrong. I walked through the hallway, Isaiah right behind me. When we stepped into the kitchen, my mother looked up from the stove, startled. Sweetheart, we didn't know you were coming. My father turned from the counter, coffee mug halfway to his mouth. Felicity sat at the table, fork in hand, a plate of eggs and toast in front of her. She froze when she saw us. Isaiah didn't wait. He crossed the room and dropped the folder on the table. Pages slid out, fanning across the surface. A contract landed face up next to Felicity's plate. She stared at it. Her fork clattered against the plate. What is this? My mother asked. I pulled out my phone, opened Becca's voicemail, and hit play. The voice filled the room, clear and apologetic. Hi, this is Becca. I'm the woman who messaged you. I just wanted to say again how sorry I am. I thought it was a prank show, something harmless. But seeing your wedding photos, it hit me that this was real. I played a character named Patricia, showed up at your home, said things someone told me to say. I didn't know it would hurt anyone. I'm sending you everything I have. The contract, the payment records, the group chat. I hope it helps. I'm really, really sorry. The message ended. The silence that followed felt like a held breath. My father set his mug down. What the hell is going on? I looked at Felicity. She hadn't moved. Her face had gone pale, but her eyes stayed locked on the table. Tell them, I said. She didn't. Felicity, my mother said, her voice shaking. What is this? It's nothing. It's a misunderstanding. Isaiah stepped forward. $8,000 isn't a misunderstanding. Felicity's head snapped up. I don't know what you're talking about. I reached across the table and picked up one of the Venmo receipts, held it in front of her face. This is your name, your account. $1,200 to someone named Becca for event work. Another $1,100 to someone named Gregory. Same description. 6 months of payments, Felicity. All of them to actors who pretended to be Isaiah's parents. My mother made a sound. Small, choked. My father leaned over the table, looking at the receipts. His face hardened. Felicity, he said quietly. Is this true? She opened her mouth, closed it. Her hands started trembling. It was supposed to be a joke. My mother's voice cracked. A joke? It got out of hand. I didn't think. You paid people to sabotage my marriage, I said. You hired actors to show up at my home, criticize me, humiliate me, and destroy my reputation. You coordinated it for 6 months. That's not a joke. I didn't mean for it to go that far. Then when were you going to stop? Isaiah's voice was low, controlled. When she lost her job? When we got divorced? When exactly was the punchline supposed to land? Felicity's face crumpled. I was going to tell you. When? I demanded. When were you going to tell us? She didn't answer. My father picked up the contract, read it slowly. When he looked up, his expression was something I'd never seen before. Not anger. Something colder. How much? He asked. Felicity blinked. What? How much did you spend on this? She hesitated. I don't. How much? 8,000, I said, give or take. My mother sat down hard in the nearest chair. She pressed a hand to her mouth. My father set the contract down carefully. You spent $8,000 to hire actors, to lie to your sister, to destroy her relationship with her husband's family. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Felicity's eyes filled with tears. She got everything. She got engaged first. She got married first. Everyone was so happy for her, and You wanted what? I said. You wanted me to be miserable? I wanted you to feel what I felt. The words hung there. My mother made a sound like she'd been struck. What you felt, I repeated. What you felt. You don't understand. You've always been the one everyone loves. The responsible one. The successful one. I'm just the screw-up who can't get her life together. So you tried to ruin mine. I didn't think it would. You told my boss I was unreliable, I said. You cost me a client. You made me doubt myself for months. You made Isaiah think his parents hated me. You sabotaged us in every way you could think of, and you're telling me it was because you felt bad about yourself? She was crying now, ugly and loud. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Isaiah's voice cut through. Sorry doesn't fix this. My father looked at him, then at me. What do you want to do? I glanced at Isaiah. He nodded once. She pays us back, I said. Every cent she spent on this, plus the income I lost from the client, and she stays away from us. No calls, no visits, no messages. She's done. My mother's head shot up. She's your sister. She's a stranger, I said. She stopped being my sister the moment she decided to do this. Felicity reached for me across the table. Please, I'll do anything. I'll pay you back. I'll apologize. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Her hand dropped. My father stood. You'll pay them back. All of it. I don't care if it takes you a year. You'll get a payment plan together and you'll follow through. And until you do, you're not welcome here. Dad, I mean it, Felicity. What you did is unforgivable. You're an adult. You made a choice. Now you live with it. My mother started to protest, but my father's look stopped her. Isaiah picked up the folder. We'll send you a total by the end of the week. You can work out the details with your parents. Felicity sat there, tears streaming down her face, mascara smudged. She looked small, broken. I didn't feel sorry for her. I turned and walked out. Isaiah followed. We didn't say goodbye. In the car, he gripped the steering wheel and stared straight ahead. That was brutal, he said. It needed to be. He started the engine. You okay? No, I said, but I will be. We drove to a coffee shop 3 blocks away and sat in the parking lot. Isaiah kept his hands on the wheel even though the engine was off. I stared at the dashboard, watching dust particles drift through the morning light. She actually said it, I said. Out loud, she wanted me to feel what she felt. I know, like that justifies anything. Isaiah turned toward me. It doesn't. I keep thinking about all the times she called me, asked how I was doing, pretended to care, and the whole time she was paying someone to destroy us. He reached over and took my hand. She didn't destroy us. She tried, and she failed. I looked at him. His jaw was set, his eyes tired but steady. He'd been awake for over 24 hours, and he still looked more solid than anything else in my life. What now? I asked. He pulled out his phone. Now we call my actual parents. I felt my chest tighten. Right now? Right now. Isaiah, it's 7:30 in the morning there. They're awake. My mom's been up since 5 for 30 years. She'll answer. He was already dialing. I heard the ringtone through the speaker, tinny and distant. 3 rings. 4. Then a woman's voice, bright and curious. Isaiah, honey, is everything okay? Hi, Mom. It's so early. Are you all right? I'm fine. We're fine. I'm here with my wife. A pause. Then warmth flooded her voice. Oh, sweetheart, hello. I'm so glad you called. We've been meaning to reach out more, but we didn't want to intrude on the newlywed phase. You know how it is. Mom, Isaiah said gently, we need to tell you something. The warmth shifted to concern. What's wrong? He glanced at me. I nodded. Someone's been impersonating you and Dad for the last 6 months. Silence. What? Actors. Hired by my wife's sister. They showed up at our house, came to dinners, pretended to be you, said things you'd never say, did things you'd never do. Another pause, longer this time. Isaiah, I don't understand. Why would anyone to sabotage us? I said. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. To make me think you hated me. To drive a wedge between us. Oh my God. I heard rustling, then a man's voice in the background. What's going on? It's Isaiah. Someone's been pretending to be us. Isaiah's mother spoke quickly, explaining in fragments. I heard his father's voice rise, then drop into something low and angry. Put it on speaker, his father said. A click. Then both their voices came through, overlapping. Start from the beginning. Isaiah did. He kept it short, factual. The unannounced visits, the criticism, the networking event where the fake Patricia told my boss I was unreliable, the months of escalating hostility that made no sense because we'd barely seen them since the wedding, and every video call had been warm and supportive. We thought you changed your mind about me, I said. We couldn't figure out why. Isaiah's mother made a sound like she'd been punched. We love you. We've always loved you. I know that now. When was the last time we actually saw you in person? His father asked. Isaiah thought for a moment. The wedding. You flew in for 3 days, then went back home. We've done video calls since then, but that's it. And these people, these actors, they showed up how many times? 8, I said. Maybe 9. Dinners, brunches, one surprise visit when they said they were in town for a conference. And you didn't think to video call us and ask why we were acting strange? Isaiah's face flushed. I thought you were just adjusting. That maybe seeing us married made things real and you were having second thoughts about her. It sounds stupid now, but at the time, it doesn't sound stupid, his mother said. It sounds like someone manipulated you very carefully. They did, I said. My sister spent $8,000 on this. She hired professionals. They had scripts, props, everything. His father swore. Quiet but vicious. We're coming out there, his mother said. You don't have to. We're coming. I want to meet you properly. I want to sit in your home and have dinner and show you what our family actually looks like. Because this, what happened to you, this isn't us. I felt something crack open in my chest. Okay, we'll book flights today. We'll stay a week. Is that all right? Isaiah looked at me. I nodded. That's more than all right, he said. Good. And Isaiah? Yeah? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry we weren't there enough for you to know the difference. I'm sorry we didn't push harder to visit. Mom, this isn't your fault. Maybe not, but we should have been closer. We should have made sure you knew us well enough that strangers couldn't fool you. Isaiah's voice went rough. I love you. I love you too, honey. Both of you. We said goodbye and hung up. Isaiah set the phone down and leaned back against the seat. He closed his eyes. They're good people, I said. I'm sorry I doubted them. You didn't. You doubted actors pretending to be them. There's a difference. Still, he opened his eyes and looked at me. You know what the worst part is? Felicity almost won. If Becca hadn't messaged you, we might have kept spiraling. We might have started blaming each other. We might have, but we didn't. We got lucky. We got smart. I corrected. We asked questions. We looked for proof. We didn't just accept the story we were being sold. He smiled, tired and real. When did you get so good at this? At what? Not falling apart. I thought about that. About the last 6 months. The confusion, the shame, the slow erosion of my confidence. The way I'd started second-guessing every word, every choice, every instinct. I did fall apart, I said. I just didn't stay there. He reached over and pulled me into a hug. Awkward across the center console, but solid. I pressed my face against his shoulder and let myself breathe. When we pulled apart, he started the engine. Where are we going? I asked. Home. We're going to clean the guest room, stock the fridge, and get ready to host my parents. The real ones. They're not coming for 3 days. I don't care. I want everything perfect. I smiled. Okay. And then we're going to have the best week of our lives. You sound sure about that? I am, he said, because we just survived the worst. Everything after this is easy. I wanted to believe him. And for the first time in months, I thought maybe I could. We drove home through morning traffic, the city waking up around us. I watched people walking dogs, carrying coffee, heading to work. Normal Sunday routines. The world hadn't stopped just because mine had imploded. When we pulled into our driveway, Isaiah turned off the car but didn't get out. Thank you, he said. For what? For not giving up. On us. On this. I thought about it, I admitted. There were nights I almost packed a bag. Why didn't you? I looked at our front door, the house we'd bought together, the life we'd built, because none of it made sense, I said. And I needed it to make sense before I walked away. He nodded slowly. I'm glad you're stubborn. Me too. We got out of the car and walked inside. The house felt different now. Lighter, like something heavy had been lifted. Isaiah headed straight for the guest room. I heard him pulling sheets from the linen closet, humming under his breath. I stood in the kitchen and looked at the table where the fake Patricia had sat, where she'd smiled and criticized and slowly dismantled my sense of safety. Then I walked over and pulled out my phone. I opened my messages and found Felicity's name. I typed, "Don't contact me again." again. Ever. I hit send. Then I blocked her number, deleted the thread, and put my phone away. Isaiah called from the hallway. You want the blue sheets or the gray ones? Blue, I called back. They're softer. Blue it is. I smiled and went to help him. Isaiah's parents arrived on a Thursday afternoon. I watched from the living room window as a rideshare pulled up to the curb. A woman in her early 60s stepped out first. Gray hair pulled back in a loose bun, wearing jeans and a cardigan. She turned and said something to the man behind her, tall, silver-haired, carrying 2 duffel bags like they weighed nothing. Isaiah opened the front door before they reached the porch. His mother dropped her purse and hugged him so hard he stumbled back a step. His father wrapped both arms around them, and for a moment they stood there in a knot of relief and apology. Then his mother pulled back and looked past Isaiah's shoulder, straight at me. There she is, she said. I stepped forward. She met me halfway and took both my hands. I'm Elizabeth, she said. The real one. I know, I said. My voice came out steadier than I expected. I'm so sorry for what you went through. It wasn't your fault. Maybe not, but I hate that someone used our faces, our names, to hurt you. Isaiah's father set the bags down and extended his hand. Gregory, and I'm sorry too for all of it. I shook his hand. His grip was firm, warm, and completely different from the man who'd stood in my kitchen 6 months ago and told me I was wasting Isaiah's potential. We moved inside. Elizabeth insisted on making tea, so we sat in the kitchen while she bustled around like she'd been there 100 times. Gregory asked about the neighborhood, the commute, the weather, small talk that felt like scaffolding, something to hold us steady while we figured out how to be real with each other. Isaiah brought out his laptop and set it on the table. We want to show you something, he said. Elizabeth sat down, still holding her mug. The messages? All of it. I pulled up Becca's Facebook thread first. The initial message, the contracts, the Venmo screenshots, then the group chat where Felicity coordinated every detail, what the fake parents should wear, what criticisms to make, when to escalate. Elizabeth read in silence. Her face went pale, then red, then something harder. $8,000, she said. Over 6 months, Isaiah added. She paid someone to destroy your marriage. She tried. Gregory leaned over Elizabeth's shoulder, scrolling through the screenshots. He stopped at one message where Felicity had written, make sure Patricia mentions the freelance thing again. I want her to feel unstable. This is calculated, he said. This isn't a prank. We know, I said. Elizabeth looked up at me. Have you spoken to her since? I sent one message, told her not to contact me again, then I blocked her. And your parents? They made her pay us back. Therapy bills, the client I lost, some of the wedding costs. They're horrified. Are they still in contact with her? I hesitated. My mom calls her once a week. My dad refuses. Elizabeth nodded slowly. That's hard. It is. Do you want to talk about it? Not really. Okay. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Just once. Then she let go and stood up. I'm going to start dinner, she said. You two are going to help me. And we're going to cook something ridiculous and complicated so we have to talk the whole time and figure out how to be a family. Gregory smiled. She does this when things are hard, forces everyone into the kitchen. It works, Elizabeth said. Trust me. So we cooked. Elizabeth decided on lasagna from scratch, which meant making pasta dough, roasting vegetables, and simmering sauce for 2 hours. We took over the kitchen like a small army. Gregory diced onions and told stories about Isaiah as a kid, how he'd refused to eat anything green until he was 7, how he'd built a treehouse that collapsed the first time it rained. Elizabeth rolled out pasta sheets and asked about my editing work, my clients, the kinds of projects I loved most. Isaiah grated cheese and watched us like he was afraid we'd disappear if he blinked. At one point, Elizabeth paused, flour dusting her hands, and looked at me. Can I ask you something? Sure. When you met the actors, the fake us, did they seem like us at all? Did they get anything right? I thought about that. About the woman who'd sat at this table and smiled with her mouth but not her eyes. No, I said. They got the details wrong. Your mannerisms, your warmth. But I didn't know you well enough to see it. I just thought you'd changed. That's what she counted on, Gregory said. Distance. Infrequency. Just enough contact to seem real, but not enough to notice the seams. It almost worked, Isaiah said quietly. Elizabeth turned to him. But it didn't. You figured it out. You fought for each other. We got lucky. You got smart, she corrected, echoing the words I'd said to Isaiah days before. Dinner took 3 hours to make and 20 minutes to eat. We sat around the table, passing garlic bread and talking about everything except Felicity. Elizabeth told us about their garden back home, the vegetables they grew, the raccoon that kept stealing tomatoes. Gregory talked about his woodworking projects, the bookshelf he was building for their den. Isaiah told stories about our first year together, the trips we'd taken, the way we decided on this house. It felt normal, comfortable, like we'd done this 100 times before. After dinner, we moved to the living room. Gregory built a fire even though it wasn't that cold. Elizabeth curled up on the couch with a blanket, and Isaiah brought out a bottle of wine. So, Gregory said, what happens next? What do you mean? Isaiah asked. With your sister-in-law? With the fallout? Is this over, or is there more coming? I set my glass down. It's over. She's not contesting the repayment. She's not trying to contact me. As far as I know, she's just quiet. Shame will do that, Elizabeth said. Or calculation, Gregory added. She spent 6 months planning this. She's not impulsive. She's not going to lash out now and make it worse. You think she's waiting for something? I think she's hoping it blows over. That in a year or two you'll soften. That your parents will pressure you to reconcile. That's not happening. Good. Elizabeth shifted on the couch. Can I say something that might be hard to hear? I nodded. Your sister is going to try to rewrite this story. She's going to tell people it was a joke, a misunderstanding, something that spiraled out of control. She's going to make herself the victim, and some people are going to believe her. I know, and you're going to have to be okay with that, because you can't control what she says or who believes her. You can only control your boundaries. I am okay with it, I said. I don't need everyone to know the truth. I just need the people who matter to know. That's wise. It's survival. She smiled. Sometimes they're the same thing. The fire crackled. Isaiah refilled glasses. We talked until midnight, the conversation drifting from heavy to light and back again. At some point, Elizabeth started yawning, and Gregory suggested they head to bed. Big day tomorrow, he said. What's tomorrow? Isaiah asked. Whatever we want it to be. They disappeared down the hall. Isaiah and I stayed on the couch, the fire burning low. They're exactly like I remembered, he said. They're wonderful. I'm sorry I doubted them. You didn't doubt them. You doubted people pretending to be them. He leaned his head back against the cushions. Do you think Felicity knows how much damage she did? I think she knows. I don't think she cares. That's worse. He turned to look at me. Are you okay? Really? I'm getting there. What does that mean? It means I still wake up angry sometimes. I still still think about all the moments she ruined, but I'm not stuck there anymore. I'm moving forward. We're moving forward. Yeah, we are. He reached for my hand. I laced my fingers through his. Thank you for not giving up on this, he said. You already thanked me. I know, but I'm going to keep saying it until it feels like enough. It's already enough. He smiled, tired but real. We sat there until the fire died, the room going dark except for the glow of the streetlights outside. Then we stood, locked the doors, and went to bed. The next morning, Elizabeth made pancakes. Gregory brewed coffee that was somehow better than anything I'd ever made. We ate on the back patio, the sun warm and the air still cool. Isaiah showed them the neighborhood. We walked to the park, the coffee shop, the bookstore where I like to work sometimes. Elizabeth asked questions about everything. Gregory took photos like a tourist. That afternoon, Becca's post went viral. Isaiah saw it first. He was scrolling through his phone when he stopped, his face going pale. What? I asked. He turned the screen toward me. Becca had written a long thread on Twitter detailing the entire scam. She'd posted screenshots of the contracts, the Venmo payments, and a selfie of herself in costume as fake Patricia. The caption read, I thought I was doing improv for a prank show. Turns out I was hired to destroy a marriage. This is what happened when I found out the truth. The post had 40,000 likes. The replies were a mix of outrage, disbelief, and people tagging news outlets. She didn't ask permission, Isaiah said. No, she didn't. Are you mad? I thought about it. About the months of confusion, the shame, the slow unraveling of my sense of reality. About Felicity sitting in her apartment, hoping this would all fade quietly. No, I said, I'm not mad. By that evening, 3 local news stations had reached out. 2 online outlets published articles. Someone on Reddit dug up Felicity's social media and started a thread analyzing every post she'd made during the 6 months of the scam. Felicity's accounts went private, then disappeared entirely. Elizabeth read the articles over my shoulder, shaking her head. The internet is terrifying. It's justice, Gregory said. It's exposure, I corrected. Justice would be her actually understanding what she did. You think she doesn't? I think she's embarrassed. That's not the same as remorse. Isaiah sat down next to me. Do you want this to stop? We could ask Becca to take it down. No, let it stay. Let people see what she's capable of. You sure? I'm sure. The story cycled through the news for 3 days. Then something else took over, and the attention faded. Felicity stayed silent. My parents called twice. My mother's voice tight with humiliation. My father's cold with anger. She's staying with a friend, my mother said. She's not answering our calls. Good, I said. She's still your sister. No, she's not. My mother went quiet. Then she said, I don't know how to fix this. You can't. It's not yours to fix. She's my daughter. And I'm your daughter too. And she tried to destroy my marriage. You don't get to both sides this. Another silence. Longer this time. You're right, my mother said finally. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. I love you too. We hung up. Isaiah's parents left the next morning, but not before Elizabeth hugged me so hard I felt my ribs protest. You're family now, she said. The real kind. Not the kind that hurts you and calls it love. We'll visit again soon, and you'll come see us. We'll make this normal. I'd like that. They drove away, waving from the windows. Isaiah and I stood on the porch until the car disappeared. That was good, he said. It was. You think we're okay now? Really okay? I thought about the last week. The cooking, the stories, the slow rebuilding of trust. The way Elizabeth had looked at me like I mattered, like I was worth protecting. Yeah, I said. I think we are. We went inside. The house felt bigger now, like there was room to breathe. I checked my phone one last time. No new messages, no apologies from Felicity, no attempts to explain or justify, just silence. And for the first time in 6 months, that felt like exactly what I needed. 3 months passed before the letter arrived. Thick cream envelope, my name in Felicity's handwriting, no return address. I held it up to the light like it might contain something dangerous. Isaiah looked up from his coffee. You going to open it? No, not even curious. I know what it says. She's sorry. She didn't mean for it to go so far. She misses me. Probably. I dropped it in the kitchen drawer next to the takeout menus and batteries. It stayed there unopened, gathering dust. That weekend, Elizabeth and Gregory flew back out. We spent Saturday painting the nursery. Soft yellow walls, white trim, a border of hand-stenciled clouds that Elizabeth insisted on doing herself. Gregory built a bookshelf that would hold more books than any infant could possibly need. Isaiah stood in the doorway watching his mother paint tiny birds into the clouds. I can't believe we almost lost this, he said. We didn't, though. We could have, but we didn't. Elizabeth stepped back, admiring her work. You two are going to be fine. Better than fine. She was right. Trust came back slowly, built through Sunday dinners and video calls and the small mundane rhythms of being family. The real kind. The kind that showed up and stayed. I never opened Felicity's letter. Some betrayals don't deserve reconciliation. Just distance. Just silence. Just the clean, bright walls of a nursery filled with people who chose to love me without conditions. That was enough.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your favorite part in the comments. See you in the next one.